Virginia.
Huh? How are you?
I'm good. I want a really nice special treat for today's podcast. It's that where the wild things
Oh,
are, because we will be talking about Sophia.
I love it. Yes. Sophia and the Wild. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Is this okay? Is this all
yeah,
okay?
happening. All right. Before we start, I want to introduce the two accompaniers who will be our accompaniers for accessibility for the podcast. Today we have Krista and we have Maya.
Thank you, Kristen Maya.
Ah, so Sophia, I want to say thank you for finding a time in your hectic schedule to come on to the KatChat Podcast to talk about the really great movie that Trade Sisters.
Thank you, Kat. It means so much that you loved it. And it means so much that um, you share and that you had all of us on the podcast. It's so special.
Yeah, I mean, when I talked with Adam, he was just talking about his movies, Hallmark, and his experience. Then he was talking about you and how much work and with this beautiful movie. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to check the movie out. So once it came out on Prime, I was like, okay, I'm watching it. So after the first time, it was very beautiful. It was very meaningful. So I was like, I'm gonna try to see if I could get these colors on. It might take a while, never know. So Valeria, and then eventually Marta, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep going and see what happens.
Mm.
So those two ladies were really amazing to have, and they have nothing but good and amazing things to say about the movie and their own experience about making that movie, writing that movie, and sharing how special or important for this movie to be seen and to be promoted out there because it's not a lot often or people will watch movies, whether Latino, Mexican, or Hispanic ladies, especially for that trait system.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Like that's what we were so for 9 years, we made this, and that's the reason why, because we were just didn't see representation of our stories on the screen. And so when you don't see it, you create it.
Definitely. Before we dive in to talk about the movie, I would like to hear about your background and how did you get into acting and was it something you wanted to do or did you have another career in mind?
hmm so I'm originally from Guadalajara, Mexico, where the movie was filmed, actually. So it was really fun to be back home. Um, I started acting when I was 13, and I wanted to be an actress since I was a little kid. But my dad said, you start with theater. Because I'm from Mexico, I wanted to do soap operas, telenovelas, like we said, and that is something that I grew up with. And my dad was like, no, real actors are made in theater. So you will, if you want to be an actress, you start in theater. And so I was like, okay. So I got into a theater group. I always looked a little older when I was a kid than I actually was. So I was with older kids. They were 18, 19, 20, and I was 15 or 13, 14, something like that. And the moment that I got there, I was like, I found my people. These are my people. These are the people that understand me, that see the world in such a different way. I love my friends from high school, but these people felt so interesting and amazing and broader than what I grew up in, which was very like everybody knew each other, we all went to the same parties together. And so it was just a beautiful experience. And then from then on, I was like, this is what I'm going to do with my life. And I did a lot of theater in Mexico, and then I started doing a little bit of film, and I understood that theater and film acting are very different. So I wanted to learn how to act for the film. industry. And so I came to LA when I was 19. And I was just supposed to stay here for 1 year. And here I am almost 20 years later. Um, and like just I just stayed, I that's how I felt also about LA. When I came to LA, I was like, I found my people. This is like a city full of different uh, cultures and different religions and different types of people that it opened my mind to so much. And I loved it. I just loved it. And so I got here, but in case people don't can see me, I have blue eyes and lighter skin. Um, and so they wouldn't cast me as a Latina because they were like, you cannot play Latina roles. Like this is like Latinas don't look like you. And so they told me to get rid of my accent. They told me to a manager that I had, an agent actually, told me to put contacts, brown contacts, and tan my skin in order to be able to play Latino roles. And, at first I was like, I'll do whatever. I just want to be in movies. I just want to be in this spaces. So whatever. And then I got tired. I was like, why can I not just be me? Like, and people in Mexico also look like me. We come in different shades, we cannot forget the history of like, Spaniards came into Mexico and like all the, we're a melting pot, like the US, of so many things and cultures. And so we have so many shades and colors and shapes. Um, and so I started writing because I got tired of it. And I did a short film called Gone. And, and it won a bunch of things, and it was just it was my first hook of like writing something and then seeing it on the big screen. um, I was able to raise $6,000, and I produced it and wrote it and acted in it, and then Will Wallace directed it, and it was just like an amazing experience. It was about sexual abuse and addiction, and I was like, wow, so many people identify with it. And I had so many women coming after and saying like, hey, like, thank you for saying this. This helped me. And now I'm going to talk to somebody about it because I have never spoken about this before. And so then I also realized, oh, it's a healing tool. It's a powerful healing tool. Telling stories is not just for entertainment purposes. It's not just ego-based stuff because Hollywood can be very that. But this is a healing tool and we can use it as that. So I just started writing more, and just wanted to do that more and more, and now I am in a state of my life where I'm a creator. I don't want to, I'm not, I don't have an agent. I don't want to audition, which is very different from my husband because he loves to audition and he loves that world. I just decided, no, I'm the person who creates the thing. And I still want to act. I love acting. It's so fun to me, but I will act when people ask me to on other projects that I am passionate about, friends that are creating amazing stories, and I will act in theirs. But the game of just auditioning to the wheel of Hollywood, I am out of that one for now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like when you mentioned the LA, I have never been to LA. I've always had a layover in LA and then fly out somewhere. But it's interesting to see how people talk about LA because LA is, I would say, probably a melting pot because it's literally like every culture A to D in LA started a life or trying something new or up for a challenge in Hollywood or some other different studios when it comes to acting. So that was really interesting how you explain your experience like living in Mexico and then be like, okay, one day I'm going to LA and see what happens. So when you moved to LA, was it a little bit of a struggle trying to get your life started and set up? And how did you get into the door of opportunity for acting or writing or directing movies?
Mhm. Yeah, when I got here, I think sometimes being naive helps you because you don't know. And so that you leave your country and then you move with a bag full of dreams, and you hope for the best. But, and thankfully, I was protected by whatever we want to call it, God angels and things, because I was in situations that could have been very dangerous. And because of that, being that naive and being that young, you end up in houses of really powerful Hollywood executives, but like, there's things that are happening that are very dangerous for a 19-year-old. And so I was protected from certain situations. And the fact that you don't know and you're just hoping and then dreaming, and that's the stage that a 19-year-old should be in, right? Like in the dreaming stage of like, I'm going to win an Oscar in 10 years. Um, it's wonderful and amazing. And then what it does, it's that then it brings you down to reality when you're like, oh wow, this is like harder. There's like the best of the best are here, it's like, and it's not only about talent. It is so much about connections and who you know and how you know them and where you meet them. And also as a woman, you have to be very careful of like, okay, this I'm meeting this producer for dinner. Like this is great. Like he can help me, but does he want something else? Like, it's just always kind of trying to discern who will help you, to what cost, or if actually they're doing to help you because they believe in you. And it's really hard at first to understand those two things. And so for me, the reason why I survived LA, because people go like, this city either accepts you or you like it spits you out. And some people call it the city of angels, and some other people call it the city of broken dreams because there's so many people that came here with big dreams. And, then you don't get to. And then you end up, doing a job that maybe you didn't want to, or being a waitress, and maybe that's not what you wanted to do, and all these things. But to me, what really made it beautiful, my journey, is my community. That I realize nobody can do this alone. And we all move here, usually alone, right? And so we are a bunch of like alone kids with big dreams, and then we meet each other. And so this community becomes your second family, becomes the people that you called when you didn't get an audition, or when you almost got a job and you didn't, or when you got fired from something. And these are the people that understand, because a lot of your family, they don't understand what it is to be here. They don't understand what it is to fight for your dream like this. And so the community that holds you down, that are like, I feel you, I hear you, I'm in the same boat. Hey, let's, you know, breathe and like do a journaling thing, and like let's talk through, and let's do a picnic and lay in the sun, and like, I listen, and we hear, and let's write something together, right? Like, and that's one of the things that I got from community was, why am I leaving my creativity to somebody else when I am the creator? And so that's when I, met Marta. I was an assistant to Dan Fosse. He was an executive in Paramount Pictures, and I was his assistant. And one of the beautiful things about working with him is he saw me as an artist, and he's like, "You're an artist first, and my assistant second." He's like, "I don't need you to just die in this job, and so create." And so he will introduce me to a lot of people, and he'll be like, Marta, you need to meet Marta. For 2 years, he told me I needed to meet Marta. I needed to meet Marta. And we never met. And then 2 years later, we met. We're like, oh my God, you're Marta. And she's like, you're Virginia. I heard so much about you. And I was like, Dan says that we should create something. So let's do it. And we immediately just jumped into creating something. And it was called Chichi and Tucci. And it was a funny comedy. And we just created that for a long time. And that gave me fuel. And I started getting more things on the outside because I was really happy and relying on community to create things. So that's, I think, for me, what helped me. But it is a beautiful thing, and it's a really hard thing, because if you are alone, and usually you come alone to the city, the first thing that I tell people is find your community. Whatever you're into, LA has it. I don't know. If you might think in your city or whatever that it's weird, you have a big community in LA, because that's the good thing about a city like LA. There's everything of anything.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I could definitely relate with you. Like back in college, I mean, I was born and raised in Wisconsin. I haven't really like, go out or explore. And then went to college in Washington, D.C. because two of my friends go like 1 year ahead of me. So they went to college. You should come here, check it out with the community, that community, and the culture. So you, I was like Washington, D.C. and like, out on the East Coast, and I haven't really lived anywhere or experienced anywhere, even though I wanted to get out of Wisconsin, like away from my family, just like experience that. So moved to Washington, D.C., went to college out there. Okay, I think I found my calling or my community because I'm a deaf person and it's nice to be around deaf community and learn about my deaf culture and really embrace it because the college I went to in Washington, D.C. is called Gallaudet University and one of the big universities for deaf community. So everybody who's deaf come from
Wow.
all over, even international students. So at first I went like, okay, tip my toes to the pool, meeting different people from different states, countries, and then I fell in love. I lived in Washington, D.C. for 6 years. Then I moved to New York with my boyfriend, who is now my husband. And then we moved to Wisconsin for a short time, and then the South. And then now we're back in Wisconsin for good.
Okay.
Want to have my family born and raised in Wisconsin, so I understand about how scary or hard or the challenge trying to find yourself and your identity and your purpose. And LA seems to be a good place for all people, for
Mhm.
all cultures to
Mhm.
start something. So that was really fascinating. And another thing about that was different cultures or Mexican, Latino, any culture, you name it. How did you feel when if you were auditioning for a post for a specific movie and like, oh, you're not Latina enough, or Mexican enough, you need to change your hair, or you need to change your appearance, like you thought you had to put brown contact in order to get the post. What did that make you feel? And then when did you realize, nah, enough with that. I'm gonna
Mhm.
be myself. I have my blue eyes. I'm from Mexico.
Mhm.
Hello. And then I
Mhm.
move on with your career.
Mhm. Well, at first it made me feel really weird because I had never thought I didn't look Mexican. Like that was not a thought in my brain when I grew up because I am Mexican. So, I mean, people always, of course, commented on my eyes. I understand that they're not the norm and they're very light. And so I understand that people are like, oh, your eyes are really rare. So I knew that. But I never thought in my mind, I don't look Mexican. Like it just never was a thought. And then I came here, and then you realize, oh, there's stereotypes of what a Mexican is and what a Mexican sounds like. And I had to have like a thicker accent. And so it was between like, don't have an accent and then, or have a big accent, like, get a very thick accent, like things like that. And so um, at first I just it was a very strange world to me. I was like, what? Like, what do you mean I don't look Mexican? They're like, well, Latinas here, have brown color skin and they have brown eyes and they have darker hair. And, you want to play that, you have to kind of match that. Or we're going to send you as like a Russian, uh, European, and then you have to lose the accent. So I work really hard on my accent. Um, some people can still tell a little bit of my accent, but my accent is pretty okay. And then at the same time, I was like, okay, and then this manager was very short. It was like, change your color and I can get you so many parts. And da-da-da. I was like, okay. And I just in that moment felt, I guess I'm not enough, right? I have to like change everything that I am in order to even have an opportunity to be seen. It's not, just wanted to make clear that it was not for a role. Because if it was for a role, I would change, anything because I'm portraying somebody else. But this was not about that. This was about you don't look who you are. And so, in the eyes of the American people. So we need to change that. And so, it felt not enough. It felt very discerning. I felt very confused. I did it. And when I did it, it felt wrong. Like as I was doing it, as I took my headshots with my brown eyes, I like cut my skinner, I cut my hair shorter. I did a bunch of things that I was like, this is just not me. And I kept looking at the picture and I was like, how am I also going to like show to a room an audition and like have all of a sudden blue eyes? Like people are going to think that. Or I have to wear my contacts every time I do an audition. But when you do close-ups, you can tell they're contacts. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. And so then I started just feeling very icky. I started feeling like this shouldn't be, this is not okay. Um, and but it still felt like I did not have the control for it. So it was kind of like either you play the game or you're out. Like that's how it felt. Um, so for a bit, I did play the game, right? It's like this is the game. This is what you need to look like. Also, the same way about body shapes. You need to be, size 0 to a size 4. So then I was very skinny at some point because I was like, okay. So I was very skinny, black, like dark eyes, darker skin, and then I didn't recognize myself. I was like, it's just not me. And and so then I probably had an identity crisis. Like I definitely had several of those during all these years of like, what do I do with my life now? If I don't play the game, what does that mean? And this story is as old as it gets, right? Like Marilyn Monroe did that, right? They changed everything who she was. She was a brunette, and they were like, you're gonna bleach your hair and you're gonna play this character, Marilyn character, right? And she has this type of voice and like and then she lost herself. She's like, I don't know, like I know this is a fake me and I know Norma Jean is like my real me. Like people want to fall in love with Marilyn, but like who is Norma Jean? And like I also have something to give. And I feel like as an artist, it's not about the image only. And that's something that Hollywood first was very keen on. It's like you have to look this way and that way and that way. It doesn't matter if you're talented or not. We can work with that. I'm like, no, when we go down to the core of what an artist is a vessel of creation to create something that other people either will relate, will heal, will laugh, will feel. And that shouldn't matter what size you are and your body. It should matter how much you can emote into and how much you can make other people feel. That's with writing and that's with acting and that's with dancing and that's, with everything or arts form. I don't care what size the painter is. I just want the painting to make me feel something. I never asked the painter, right? It's like, did he have brown eyes? Did like what is the size of his dress, this painter? You know what I mean? It's just how the paint makes me feel. And I think we need to come back to that. And I think slowly we're coming back to that, to the reason of art, not um, not the fakeness that can come or the ego that can come from it.
Yeah, definitely. Because when I graduated college, I started to see the world in a different place. Because I graduated college to become a teacher. So I'm a teacher and I'm a mom and I'm a wife and I'm all of that. So it made me see the world in a different way. And it's just really shocking. Like sometimes the world depends on stereotypes or some areas of the world are stuck with one place. Like in and teaching for school during, I think it was ninth grade or 11th grade English or something. They were talking about misrepresentation. So we watched a movie or a documentary about women. So
Mm.
like how men or the world view women, oh, skinny, long legs, tan, blonde, blue eyes, and then give her an ad or give her a job. they tell the women what to do, but the women don't really have a voice or have a say. They're really interested in how the world perceives things between men and women or Latino person, blonde and blue eyes.
Mhm.
So I feel like, okay, Hollywood is a little bit much, but yeah, they focus on image. That's it. They don't worry about
Mhm.
who they are or the backstory, but that was really interesting how people like find their true identity and they're like, okay, this is me. This is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna do this, whether you like it or not. But this is me. This is who I am because I see my picture. I'm like, this is not me. No, they clear off the wrinkles. They clear off
Mhm.
the blemishes. And I want my natural photo. I don't want that because it's nice to hear now that more women are being more vocal and
Mhm.
being brought to awareness. And the world is going to be like, oh, okay, maybe we're actually onto something here. But will that ever happen? Who knows? That's
Mhm.
how society is these days.
Mhm. 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 Yes, so much of that, of like the misrepresentation and what social media is doing to younger generations. I don't know if I would have been born in a stage where I was a teenager with social media and filters. I don't know how much. I'm sure it would have had affected me so much because it already affected me just by the movies that I didn't see women with my body type, and that affected me already. So, social media, I mean, also social media, you can see women that have different shapes, and that's a good thing. But the filter thing, right? It's like we don't have pores on filters, we don't have anything on
Yeah,
filters, scars or anything, and that
yeah,
definitely brings you to the self-awareness and self love, that it's like you cannot love yourself unless you are somebody else. And I think the what I understood and what I have understood now, in my late 30s is that no, the power is in being myself. That's the power that we have because there's nobody like you, right? Unique. The uniqueness is what makes you the most powerful. And when you try to fit into something, whether it's a trend, a body trend, because there's body trends right now. Right now, everybody's so skinny. Before everybody was so curvy, and it's just if you try to fit in, you will always lose yourself, and you will not understand that your power is being who you are,
yeah,
because that's your unique self, and nobody has all the qualities that make you you, and the texture of your skin and the shape of your body and who you are and your personality and your quirks and your little weird things and the way you speak and the way you talk with your hands or not, all of those things make you unique, and your uniqueness is your biggest power. And then I understood that. And when I understood that, I'm like, that's why I want to create, because I don't want anybody else to tell me, you need to lose 20 pounds. Um, because who I am and my body shape, and also seeing my body shape on the big screen with me, in the movie was so healing for myself. I was like, oh, wow, this is me being a curvy woman on the screen, being sexual and happy and sensual. And they used to not represent curvy women like that.
yeah, definitely. Like I see a lot of more promotion or advertisement, and I don't know, underwear or shorts or dressing. I was like, I want to see actual people trying it, not stereotype. Skinny people trying on this. This is how it looks. A few days
Mm.
later, this is how it looks. I'm like, we don't
Mhm.
have the same body type. So how do I
Yes,
know it actually works?
exactly.
Okay. So sometimes I remember the time I'm like, I want to see a curvy woman or a little bit of a heavy set woman wearing the product and then giving honest comments or reviews. Now slowly they're having curvy women wearing boxed underwear and sharing
Mhm.
their views. I was like, they're beautiful. I mean, it really like
Mhm.
shape them up when they want to be, but it's not always just skinny, pretty, blonde, brown,
Mhm.
tan women. Like, Not interesting, not interesting. So sometimes I will buy the stuff, my style. I'm like, oh, this is good. If this would help, if this was a little bit more loose, or
Hmm.
whatever, because I'm a runner, so I have to really focus on what kind of shorts I wear for running for my comfort. With
Hmm.
stand up under regular shorts or biker shorts,
Right.
because of course I feel sometimes self-conscious with my image because I gain
Yeah.
weight, I lose weight, I'm trying to
Mhm.
stay there, and then of course becoming my the body changing,
Yes,
blah.
yes.
But now I'm starting to adapt. Okay, this is who I am, this is who I'm at. I have to learn how to live it, run, walk, change. But I don't change for them. I change because I'm not comfortable with it. I'm like,
Right.
let's do something different.
Yes.
So
Yes. That is a big difference. You're absolutely right. And that is very important. It's like if I want to cut my hair, if I want to be tanner, it's because of me, right? It's not because somebody else told me or for you know, to fit in into somewhere, it's just being, yeah, if I want to lose weight, I'll lose weight because that's because of my health or because something that I want, not because the industry tells me that I have to be a certain thing.
definitely. I like trade Titu. As I shared with Valeria and Marta after, I think, after Adam, I watched the movie twice just to see to
Mhm.
get the feel for it. Then after each interview, I watched it again because I try to pay attention to the stories they tell me or the perspective or if you've seen the scene, watch how he does it or watch how Sophia acts
Mhm.
Lucia. I'm the watch that. I see what you mean. I just really, really beautiful, really powerful. I was telling everybody, including you, that reminds me of Tortilla Tube. We need more
Mhm.
movies like this with the
Mhm.
sisters or something with the brothers, the generations, their culture. So please tell me about your experience making that movie. I know 9 years
Mhm.
writing, raising money, finding the right people. Cristo, for example, making that amazing movie.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Kat. That means so much. When you spend 9 years on something and then you see the reaction and you're watching it so many times, it touches my heart so much. So thank you for your words and for watching it that many times. It means so much. Um, wow, it was a life-changing experience. 9 years is, I say that I don't have kids, but I had a movie. Instead of 9 months, it was 9 years of birthing something. Um, it was a beautiful experience. It was a lot of learning experience because I had created short films, I have written things, but I have never written a feature. And, me and Valeria wrote the short, Marta directed the short film, and then um, Gonzalo Ruiz de Velasco, he said, this is a feature, you guys need to write it. He's the first one that believed in us, and we were like, what, a feature? We've never written a feature. He's like, well, figure it out because it's a feature, and I want to back you guys up. And so we did, we started writing and what we knew that we wanted to write a road movie. And then it was Marta's idea to make it into a pilgrimage. And it was, we had so many things that we wanted to say. The movie obviously changed so much from the beginning to now because the beautiful thing about writing something for so long is that you have a chance to grow with it. And so the movie, we were different people when we started making it. And life happens. And a lot of things started happening during those
Yeah,
9 years, and it was something that was beautiful about creating it is that we could add anything that was happening to us into the movie. So it started being a very comedy, broad movie. And the more we were going through stuff ourselves, the more we would put it in and be like, oh, okay, that's interesting. How about the forgiveness thing? Or if I was going through something through with my relationship with Adam, I was like, I want to talk to you guys about this. And they were like, that's great. Like, let's add it, And um, so the movie got deeper because we got deeper into our own selves. And so we were able to, instead of just letting the movie just be and leave it at that stage, the movie grew with us and we let that happen. And so that was a beautiful lesson for me in the sense of um, you are one person when you start something and you might become something else, but that doesn't mean the project stays the same. The project has to grow with you. It's kind of, I'm gonna get a little woo-woo here, but I do feel like there's some point that the project has its own entity. It's like its own soul. And that's how we would see it at times. Because every year was like, this next year, we're gonna make this movie, and then it wouldn't happen. And then this next year, I had in my New Year's resolutions, like, this is the year, and it would never, and it would happen. And so you also start kind of like losing a little bit of hope. But the beautiful thing about being three of us is that we get to champion each other. And when one of them is down, we can be like, I got this, you know. I will push this train right now if somebody is tired or losing hope or is going through something in life. And we did that for each other. And so being three, it's really helpful because you're not doing it on your own. And these are three people, like, two women that became my sisters in the process of this because we shared so much. And also we felt so much by doing this. It's the figuring it out and the not giving up. That's something that my dad always said. He said, never ever give up. You will get it. Just never ever give up. And there were times where I was like, how much am I willing to give more? We wrote it for 6 years, and there were people that were interested and people that were like, we'll buy it, but you guys cannot be the actresses for it. And we're like, no, we wrote it for us, and so no. And so we would walk away from the deal. And that was also hard because a lot of people would tell us, you want to make your movie, you have to walk away from being the actresses of it. And we didn't believe that. I was like, no, I don't think that's right. And we hold on to that. And Gonzalo also hold on to that. He was like, of course, you guys are the actresses. He never pushed us to not be. And there was one moment where the movie was like almost like, yes, somebody was gonna make it, and we were very excited. And then that fell through. And that's one of the moments that I was like, I think I'm done. I just think I'm done. I don't think I can do this any longer. And it was the only moment that I actually like thought that. But it also light a fire under my ass because I was like, if we don't make this movie by March, and I think it was like December, um, I'm done. We're gonna like grab my phone, my iPhone in March if it's needed to be, and we're gonna shoot this movie on an iPhone across Mexico. And like that's how we're gonna do it. Because I cannot work on this anymore. This movie is ready. It's done. We need to move on. Um, and when you state something to the universe, sometimes we started like all of a sudden 2 months later, we got a deal to start shooting in March. We got the money
That's
to be able
amazing.
to do that.
I heard from Valeria and Marta how the process of, I can't imagine my dad writing a book or a screenplay and then it takes 9 years to do that. Really amazing. And I love how you guys keep going with the challenge, even though there were a lot of
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
finally you make it. So once you got the news, okay, we're gonna make it. I feel that really important because you three wrote the movie. You three poured the heart and soul and have the personal life experience or personal trauma into that movie, and you guys have a very specific character to be
mhm,
playing. And I
mhm,
told Valeria, Marta, and now do the characters were like really just spot on. When I interview each of you, I was like, oh, yeah, definitely. I could see a little bit of Lucia and you. I could see a little bit of Maria in you. And you definitely hand on Sophia because of
mhm,
your vibe and your energy and stuff. And I think around Marta, if you were watching that movie, what character would you be? I mean, I honestly, all of them, for different reasons.
yeah,
All of them, for different reasons. I could be Lucia because I'm very organized. I must have everything packed. I must be like, everything, we have a hotel, okay, we have this, and we're like, very like, I'm not gonna get, I'll go outside, get my stuff messy. I have this. and we have Maria who have an agenda. We're going to
Yeah.
do this today. We're going to do this mile today. We're going to stay at this hotel, and then we're going to take off. And of course, I have Sophia. I'm free spirited. I do whatever. Go with the flow. Something happens. We'll make fun of it. We'll just make a do, whatever. So I'm curious how you three determine the word and how you make it a little bit personalized to yourself in real life.
Well, the roles were very, very us, and that's something that we wanted to do. It's like for a movie like that, for people to believe that you can play something like that, you cannot go into the opposite direction. You kind of lean into who you are. And we created these roles leaning into who we are, and even when we were writing, it's like, how would you say it? How would Sophia say it? I'm like, okay, you know, I always say that I am Sophia if I hadn't done the healing work on myself. That I would have turned out like Sophia, living in a motel room, having sex with a bunch of them. But I did a lot of work on myself, and so I can see a lot of the qualities in her and the free spiritedness and just want to have fun and have a good time and all of that stuff. And it's very me. Like the rakata, for example, it was not scripted. I just made it up in the moment, the rakata, 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 and it just became a thing all of a sudden on the set. And like, so we lean into who we are a little bit. Of course, there's differences. We're not exactly those people, but their essence, we are. And the beautiful thing is that the three of us are so different that we get to create three different characters that are friends, right? That love each other, kind of like Sex and the City, right? Where you have four different friends that are so different, but they love each other, And these are like three sisters that are very different, and they fight because of their differences, and their problems or their issues, but also they have a deep love for one another. And I love these when you have three people that you're like, how are they gonna get along? Um, because it also teaches us that we can get along with people that are very different from us. It's like it doesn't have to be somebody that has my similar interests. I can travel with somebody that thinks opposite as me or wants to do different things or is very different from who I am. And it doesn't mean that I'm don't love them or I'm not going to have a good time. So I love to show that, in that sense. And so we just kind of leaned into who we are, and we did more and more of that. We would sometimes improvise and be like, okay, like how would we say this? Like let's just get into these characters. And there's just a couple of scenes that are improvised, and we had like so much fun doing that as well. But yeah, I mean, by the time we did the script, it was like we had worked on it for so long. And then people were like, um, do you, like, I don't know if I even need to memorize the lines. And the good thing about us being the writers, and then once Cristo came in, which was amazing that he just came into this project in the way that he did, we were also be able to, he was like, hey, like, I have a couple questions about my character. And we were able to change them right there, right? And there was another character, the cowboy character, that I flirt with, and he was he was like, "Hey, can I ask you about this line? Can I improvise the line?" I'm like, "Of course, I'm the writer. Do whatever." And so that was really fun
So
and
it's
and
really
great.
nice, really cool, like how you come together and make the good work and work with other characters to the movie and just like, what if I do this? What if I do this? So it seemed that you had a little bit of flexibility, but not too much flexibility with the script and all of that, or all of the character to the movie, which is like really good. I mean, some it was like maybe someone random, and you have some random people walking in the background that you can't really control, but you're like, hey, you can do this, but you can't do this part, okay? Just no, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So overall, I really liked how the sisters were a little bit off standards to the beginning because they haven't seen each other oh, we're taking care of mom. And I don't care about mom because she's the life I live. And the
Mhm,
other one is trying to bring the other two together.
mhm,
So through the movie, slowly, they were like, okay, like one, if they know that one sister's drunker, they're like, okay, try to help. And then they know that the other one falling apart later, they're like, try to help. And then overall,
mhm.
at the end of the movie, it was really just a lot of emotion, happy,
Yes.
sad, and I'm like, wait, what? Really? Did that just happen? I'm like, oh, I understand now after watching it again. Just to get the whole concept and purpose of the story was Maria wanting to have some kind of closure for
Mhm,
herself and her sister and her husband, Harold.
mhm,
And then big twist at the end of the movie. Not
mhm,
spoiling it for you guys out there, but just amazing.
mhm. Yes, yes, yes. It's a big twist and a lot of emotions. Like you said, it's like progressively how how three sisters don't get along and like how when you travel with somebody, right, a lot of things comes out. Um and then you start like figuring it out. Like me and my sister are so different from each other, so different. But there's some deep love, right? But when we travel together, there always is meant to be a fight of like, especially when we used to sleep in the same room in holidays. It was like air conditioner. No, I don't want it. It's like so opposite. But then there's you tap into the love and you tap into the what joins you. And I just think that is also a message for right now in the world, just kind of tapping into that. Yes, we might be very different, coming from many different cultures and places and things, but we're humans and we all have a lot of pain and a lot of love to give. And so, yeah,
Okay, now do you have a favorite memory or a favorite scene that you really liked doing in the movie?
I'm sure they said the temazcal, that they said the temazcal probably. Um, I did have a really good day. There were so many good days. I mean, the first day that we got there, it was very surreal because you work for so long and then we were producers, right? But then we had to kind of, Denise Prieto, who's our amazing producer. I went to high school with her, love her to death. She's the producer of this project. And we gave it to her, and we then were able to just be actresses. And that was really fun because I was you know, not thinking about if something was going wrong, if we were going late. Like I was not thinking of anything else, but I really wanted to enjoy the moment. It's like a wedding, when you get married and there's a wedding and there's so many things happening around, but you really kind of want to take the moment because you know it's going to go by so fast. So I tried to have that perspective in there where I was like, oh my God, it happened like 6 years and it happened. And yeah, so the first day they closed streets in the whole city and they have cranes and they have all these things. And then we saw all the crew and it was like 100 people just working for this movie. And it was really like a pinch me moment, like a wow, our dreams are coming true. I honestly, because of all so many times that almost got made and then it didn't, and almost got made and didn't, I didn't allow myself to get excited until I was on set because I was like, this could change. We know this. Like, it could change so fast. We already had people that wanted to make the movie and then it fell through. So let me get excited until I get on set and it actually is happening. So the day that I got on set, I was like, okay, now I get to be excited. It's happening. And I was like just crying and it was just such an excitement.
Okay, I asked Marta about it because she was playing a wife of Harold, which was your husband. So how did was it like a little bit awkward or whenever you guys go to whenever the Hollywood? Because I know sometimes you were like, never seen it, you gotta go while we do that game because it's a little bit uncomfortable and awkward. So I wanted to hear from your perspective, even though you all are really good friends. That we're gonna cut like we're gonna cut each other like brothers and sisters. There's nothing
Yeah.
to worry about. Just, okay, done. And to continue on with filming.
I honestly, it was more awkward for Marta than it was for me. I had no issues at all. Like, love them so much. When we cast Adam, because I wanted Adam to be part of the movie, and we were figuring it out what character, and he was supposed to be a different character, and then because Harold was supposed to be like a short Jewish man, and all this, and it's like, well, what if it's? I think somebody, I can't remember who said it, but there was like, well, Adam would be great for Harold, and then we started adding certain parts of Harold that are very Adam, because Adam is a very emotional man. And that's one of my favorite things about him, that he cries about everything. And I just love that about him. So we started adding little jokes about him crying all the time, and here and there, and like the little places. But to me, I was like, it makes so much sense because I see them as having very similar energies. They do. They both are part of my soul. They both are my soulmates. And so I do see them having like very similar energies. They both are, I always have said this, they have similar things to each other. And so I said, oh my God, this would be like so sweet and so perfect. And I had no issues. And then Marta called me one day. She's like, wait, I just realized what this means. Like, I have to kiss your husband. Like, are you gonna be okay? And I'm like, I am so okay. Like, this is, kiss him, make out with him. He's actually a good kisser. Go for it. Like, I don't care. And she was like, I don't know. And so I went to see the scene because I thought it was such a sweet scene because it's the first scene that you see them together. And she was like, I'm so uncomfortable. I cannot kiss him in front of you. And I was like, okay, I'll leave. I'll leave. I'll leave you too. But I said, listen, you have my full permission. And Adam didn't, I don't think Adam felt any sort of type of way. Adam was like, oh, this is just kind of my job. And he's like, he felt a little bit like I'm kissing my sister because Marta is her sister. And so he's like, it's just like kissing my sister. I was like, well, pretend you're kissing somebody else. That's why you close your eyes. Pretend, you guys. This is called acting. And then they did, and it was fine. And people always ask me when people realize that he's my husband and he's playing Marta's husband, it's like, wait, what? What do you mean? And you guys did that on purpose? And I was like, listen, my husband is great in this role. If he has to kiss my best friend, that's great. I do much worse things in this movie, so they're fine.
Yes, you did about it. Whoa, okay, no comment on that. But yeah, I mean, they were really cool. Maria and Harold were just like really cute. And it seemed like they were newlyweds, but they were married for quite a bit. And they had their own drunken with Maria health concerns and stuff. But it was really cool. She was, it seemed like very innocent, very. So they played both parts really well. So I was just curious how that played out for.
Mhm.
So that's a Marta. Now,
Yeah.
Virginia. So there was one part of the movie that I kept seeing on social media ever since the movie aired on July promoting the horseback riding. So how did that help you with it a horse before or were you like a horse person? When I saw that little skiing take or whatever, I was like, okay, I'm making a note of it. I need to ask Virginia, how did it happen or how did he go with that cowboy?
Oh my God, the horse fall. Um, I have ridden horses. Like I grew up ridden horses. I was fine. And I wrote this for myself, so it's my fault. But I hadn't even think when I was writing that when I was writing in the back of the horse. Riding in the back of the horse means in the ass of the horse, which means that you're not sitting in a chair. You're just sitting just on the horse with no chair on and holding on to the person that is carrying the horse. I hadn't done that since probably I was a kid. And I didn't realize the mechanics of all of that, what it entailed, because you have to really tighten your legs so you don't fall. And you have to really tighten your legs, but you cannot push your feet because the person who's in front of you has to give the signals to the horse so they have their feet touching the horse, but you cannot have your feet touching the horse. So all the work it has to be done in this part of the body and just your just these muscles, and you cannot touch the horse with your feet because the horse will get confused on what orders are you giving them. And so I was a little nervous when I realized I'm like, oh my God, like what? And I didn't realize this until the day off, right? And so I was like, okay, a little nervous. But I got on set like 3 hours before, to practice. And so I first practiced with somebody else, and then I practiced with the actor. And we did great. We ran a couple times, and the actor was telling me, listen, it's gonna be fine. Just really relax. The horse can feel if you're scared. So just relax. He's like, I got you. And the actor, what like has he's a professional horseback riding. Like I trust him. And he was telling me the story about this soap opera that he did when the woman touched with his heel, her heel, touched the horse, and the horse kind of freaked out. And then the horse threw them, and this woman grabbed onto him and like basically fell. And he had his foot stuck in the thing, and so he broke his knee. So he was telling me all of this. And so I'm like, oh my God. So he's like, listen, if you happen to fall, or if you feel like you're falling, or the horse is going to fall, or the horse is going to throw you, just let go and jump, because it's easier if you take me down with you. I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to hurt myself. And I was like, okay. So I had that in my mind, but everything was going great. We did 3 takes. They were great. And then the director is like, okay, one more take. It's like, okay. But then the horse started, there's between galloping and just trotting, and it was bouncing too much. The horse, it stopped throtting, because when you're throtting, there's like this movement where you can like really kind of go with the horse. But then it started doing this. And so I started just bouncing, and I started just being like, I can't hold my legs. And so I was grabbing onto him, but I was like moving him, and I started yelling at him, stop, stop, stop. I'm gonna fall. I'm gonna fall. And he's like, what? And like I just made a decision, and I was just like let go, and then I just like flew in. But then I saw the horse coming back, and so I just stood up like super quickly, and I was like, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then I see like 30 people running towards me, like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine, you guys, I'm fine. There was an ambulance. They gave me a couple of shots in case like I was gonna, because I have to shoot the next day. Thank God I didn't break anything. The only thing I have like a little scar here on my hand. I think you can see it a little
Yeah.
bit from like falling on a rock. But besides that, I was fine. And then, of course, the producer, Denise, was like, you're not. There was another scene where I had to get on the horse again. And she's like, you're not going to get on that horse. You cannot get on the horse again. I said, listen, if I don't get on the horse again, I will never get on any horses ever again. Like, I need to get back on the horse. Because and I was scared, but I did. I got back on the horse, I think 4 days later or something, and it was okay. But it was a scary moment for sure.
My goodness, I was just curious because I was like, oh my dear, but I did not realize getting on the horse and you like two people can't like at the back. That's something new for me to learn. I was like, oh, okay. It's been a long time since I've been on the horse. So, I mean, I like horseback riding. My son does horseback riding lessons. So I never thought of two people on the horseback can't touch or confuse the horse. So that was really fascinating. So yeah, that was a good scene, and again, the movie is just like really amazing. That question for you is what next? What next for you? Because I've heard from Marta that the possibility will be a TV series based off the movie, but what next for you with directing, writing, or producing, or acting?
I am doing all of those things.
Nice.
I don't know in what capacity. I mean, I'm also writing a book. I am, besides doing this, I know this is not the necessarily the space, but I also I'm a tantric teacher, so I teach sexuality, sacred sexuality. I have a podcast called Orgasmica, and I do a bunch of that. So definitely, I will be doing that. I'm writing a book about that specific thing. But because I wanted to join more of the two things that I do, which is uh, there's just people that have contacted me about, producing a TV series that has to do with either sexual abuse or acting in a beautiful film that it was about a woman who was a painter back in 1920s in Mexico who was a sex revolutionary. She talked about sexuality in such a beautiful way, and they shunned her in society. And so I definitely want to keep joining these two passions of mine of speaking about women's sexuality and how to really get in touch with our bodies and our souls and our connection to ourselves, and writing about that. And yes, the TV show, we're focusing on the TV show as well. We have a couple of other ideas for movies that we're developing. One of them is a comedy spy movie. That'd be really fun that we're developing, and just keep on kind of creating. I am a big fan of like whatever sparkles my attention, and because it's a lot of work now, right now we understand, and that's what we were talking about the other day, the three of us, is like now we understand the amount of work that is needed to create something. So it's more not just let's create everything, it's just how do we want to focus our time and our money and our resources, because we understand now how much not only work as like the things that you have to do, but like emotional, spiritual, therapy, all the things that you have to do in order to create something really good. It takes a lot out of you. So really thinking what is, and the next step with the three of us together, that makes the most sense and that we're willing to put in that amount of work and that amount of time, because even if it's a TV series, it takes years to develop something. And so it's not just doesn't happen like right away, it takes many years. So what are we willing to put in years into? That's kind of like the next for the three of us. And I think the three of us are also like, oh, are always creators, and so we're always like figuring out what to create and what to do and how to keep that creativity fire on. And we are always supporting each other. I'm doing my podcast live, an event of my podcast live, and Marta is recording it and she's setting up the lights, and Valeria is decorating it because Valeria is amazing at set designing, and we're there for each other and all the things, right? And so I'm sure there will be many other things to come, and exciting, exciting things.
Yeah, definitely hoping it will take 9 years to make it again for all of that.
Yes,
That,
no,
that,
hopefully
that yeah,
yeah,
trade out there, and there's a lot of promoting between the three of you and me and Cristo and Mexican culture. So hopefully that will realize, okay, we like that, we need to see more of this stuff. And hopefully we will see a lot of more practice from the three of you. So I really appreciate all of you thinking about women, Latina, Mexican, and the importance of storytelling and the culture to share to the world. So for those of you out there who don't know what like Trade Sisters are, check it out on Amazon Prime and other streaming services out there. Make sure to watch that movie. It's really beautiful. And also check out my other podcast, interviews with Valeria and Marta. So, Virginia, I really want to appreciate your time this morning coming on to the Cat Chat talking about your experience making that movie, Last Trade System.
no, thank you so much, Kat. I really, really appreciate you having all of us in, and your beautiful words will stay with me forever about this movie. Every word that people say, I'm just like keeping it in my heart, because 9 years, it's a long time, and so people like you make it worth it. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Virginia.
Thank you.
Have
And
a
thank you,
great day.
Kirsten. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. This was so fun. Thank you for listening to me talk. Thank you.
All right, good. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. You too. Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.